Travis?
Travis is excused today.
Okay.
I told him our meeting would be the second Wednesday of the month,
Ah.
and this week is different, so he's on vacation right now.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order of the Pipestone HRA, and it is 12:58.
Mitch,
Yes.
Julie, Ryan, Dan,
Here.
Jada, Daniel,
Here.
Travis is excused, quorum declared.
Okay, we're gonna, hopefully everybody's had a chance to look over the minutes from the last meeting. If there's any questions or concerns?
Well, we didn't have a meeting.
No, but the previous meeting
Oh,
that
that's
we did
what
have.
you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Where in the when you open up the bids, you had
Okay,
said.
we're gonna stick to the agenda first. We gotta do this in order. We gotta.
Yeah.
That'll come up.
Where in the minutes was that?
Oh, way back when we started.
Oh, that wasn't at that last meeting.
Oh,
No.
no.
That was quite a
way back when. But I do have an update for that
Okay,
when we get
okay.
to it, yep.
Okay, Ryan has made a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Carries. All right. We have to take a look at approval of the financials. Hopefully you've had a chance to look those over. That's in the back.
Any question?
Yeah, any questions, concerns?
I move to approve financials.
Motion made to approve financials, seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Old business.
So under old business, I did have the board members, but since then, it's been approved by the city council, and they'll be sworn in today, so I don't really think we have to talk about what had happened, because everybody's been approved, and that would be the next item under new business, is to swear them in.
Okay.
So I guess if each of you want to stand, and you can read that page, and
Do you have to read it aloud?
they can. It's not too long.
So that stand on?
Go ahead and stand, and I guess we can even just, if you want to start with I, Dan, I, Scott, I, Dan, I, Jada, and then read them.
Okay.
All at one time, it's fine with me.
I, Dan Delaney, do solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Minnesota, and to discharge faithfully the duties of the office of the Housing and Redevelopment Authority of the City of Pipestone, Minnesota, to the best of my judgment and ability, so help me God.
I, Scott Swanson, do solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Minnesota, and to discharge faithfully the duties of office of Housing and Redevelopment Authority of the City of Pipestone, Minnesota, to the best of my judgment and ability, so help me God.
I, Daniel Bernardo, do solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Minnesota, and to discharge faithfully the duties of the Office of Housing and Redevelopment Authority of the City of Pipestone, Minnesota, to the best of my judgment and ability, so help me God.
I, Jada Schuman, do solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Minnesota, and to discharge faithfully the duties of the Office of Housing and Redevelopment Authority to the City of Pipestone, Minnesota, to the best of my judgment and ability, so help me God.
And I just want to thank everybody for picking these positions. And like I said, Travis, I had told him the second Wednesday of the month, so that's why he's excused, as we're calling a special meeting today, due to the fact that we didn't have a quorum at our last meeting, and I need a resolution turned into HUD by tomorrow, so that's why we're having a meeting today. Then we'll get back on track to the second Wednesday of every other month, the odd months. So, approved to close the wait list for Section 8, which we had talked about way back when, and we we're going to approve that at last meeting. We no longer are accepting applications, and we just want that in our minutes that that has been talked about, and we need to have that approved, that we have officially closed it.
So moved.
I second it. Okay.
Okay,
The
we have
next,
to vote.
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay. All those in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
And then the approval of the letter for the transfer, Section 8, which I'm pretty sure, you had it in your packet, just a real small blurb. Just now I passed you out what was all put in there. I was waiting for HUD's approval and we didn't have that. So this basically is just talking about how it's now going to be transferred over to Mankato. People in Pipestone County will still be eligible. It's just that it will be administrated from Lewis County, so. So you got the letter. I don't know if anybody had any questions about it or what it states. If not, I'm just looking for approval of that for the resolution.
So moved.
I second
Okay. Motion is seconded to approve this letter. All those in
Point
favor?
of order, point of order.
Yes,
Do we have some discussion at this point, since we have a
Sure.
motion on the floor?
sure.
I know this is something that came up probably about a year ago with your discussions with HUD and the trouble rating that we had with Section 8. There were several different areas in their checklist, and I don't know what those areas were. It was like 1 through 6.
it. Yep. And they've all been.
And one of them probably was the vouchers, like you had said. But there's more to this, transferring it over, than just not having the 53 vouchers filled, correct? We were at 51%, 22 or so vouchers were filled.
22, yeah.
Yeah, and so that was part of their issue,
Mhm.
but what were the other parts?
So that was a compliance audit. We were the first ones in the state of Minnesota to have it. And of all of the findings, every one of them has been answered. I have the email where everything is completed. This transfer of this program had nothing to do with that audit. That audit was completely separate.
Well, in your response to that audit from the state of Minnesota, it did indicate that this was part of your solution.
I'm not sure what in the state of Minnesota, where was that? I'm just not sure if I'm on the same page as what you're talking about.
Okay. I can pull up the letter here if I can find it.
Was it from the Minneapolis Hudfield office?
Yeah.
Oh, not the state of Minnesota, from Minneapolis.
So it was the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Oh, yeah, that's my Minneapolis
In
Hudfield
Minneapolis
office.
field
Yep.
office.
Yep.
And the last section of it indicates, this letter provides notice that HUD plans to complete the SEMAP information review on or before August 29th, 25. So we have another review coming up
Correct.
on that date.
Mhm.
To confirm the SEMAP certification for FYE 9/30/24, and the FYE 9/30/24, I'm assuming was your fiscal year end Section 8 Management Assistant Program report.
Correct.
And I had asked you for a copy of that several weeks ago and still haven't received that. So that's why I'm not sure what indicators 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 actually are that we are doing this for that. But, and to make a decision, I like to have all the information. And that's why I asked for that. But I'm also concerned that we're in a transition period right here, right now, with 4 new members, 1 absent. And this is a drastic change in how you've done business.
This is something we've been
And this is
working on
something
for
that-
a long time.
This is something that was addressed. The first designation of your troubled status was 9/30 of 2017.
Yep, that's what I just said, of 17, and that's when we started working.
So we're
on
at
this.
5, 6, 7, 8 years almost. And now all of a sudden we're gonna change it?
We've been working on trying to transfer this.
But, I mean, 4 members here aren't up to speed on it.
But we're not gonna get up to speed today.
I will gladly sit down and
There's no
show you
way.
what
Right.
those.
We've been doing this business for a long time.
And I agree with you, Mitch. We're not gonna get up to speed today.
Right.
And so that's why I would recommend that this be tabled until our next regular meeting,
So
which
the-
would still be for the August 29th.
The only time that Section 8 program can be transferred from one housing authority to another is on January 1 or on July 1. Those are the only 2 dates. That's
Okay.
why this had to be submitted tomorrow, because it needs to be in there 90 days prior to
Won't we have a
submittal.
meeting before July 1, the beginning of fiscal year, so is that it?
Yep.
Yeah.
But they need to have it.
But they need this resolution in their office by tomorrow, otherwise we're not going to be transferring. the
Otherwise, we have to
program.
wait till January,
Correct?
another 6 months down the road.
Yep.
Yeah. And is 6 months down the road really a significant amount of time compared to the last 7 years?
Well, it is
We've
for
done
all the
so
things
much
that I've been
business on
doing the
this
labor
already.
and to get this all put together, yes. And when you ask what those 1, 2, 3, whatever, Section 8 has 15 points that you have to answer to every single year. It's called CMAP.
Yeah.
And those ones that are in there, those were the things that they questioned. It was rent reasonableness, how do you calculate rent? Inspections, those types of things. All those things have been answered to. I have that all in my office. I have the email saying that it's all been completed, the audit is finished. But yes, we've been working on this since 2017 to get rid of this program. COVID came into play, then that's when it fell away, and then I got a new HUD rep, and she didn't get done by July 1st, so then the next time was January. I mean, we've been going round and round with this for quite some time.
Okay.
And we finally got, Worthington was originally the one that was going to take this on, but their executive director retired, and they got a new one, and the new one said, no, I don't want to take it. That was in January 1 that we were going to do it, because he was too new and didn't understand, and he didn't want to take it on. So then in January, when he said no, that's when we started working, and now we're finally got this done with Mankato.
How does this affect the 22 residents that we have now then?
They still have their vouchers. There's, nothing is changing in our program whatsoever. It's just that instead of the paperwork being done here in the office between Kelsey or myself, it's being administrated through Mankato. If someone new comes in and is looking for housing, their application is going to Mankato. They're basically just administering the program. No one's losing their voucher. No one's going to be told they can't have a voucher going forward. It's just that we're not going to administrate it because of those 53 vouchers and only 22 of them are filled. We don't even get enough money from HUD each month to pay for the rent of those 22 people. So we've been looking for someone bigger who can take on and can hopefully fill all 53 vouchers. So we don't have enough houses available for rent. Mankato has just the opposite. They don't have any vouchers left, but they have over 300 people on their wait list.
Okay.
So it's kind of a win-win.
And we had no one on our waiting list, correct?
Correct.
Has there been any work done as far as talking with landlords? Blight is an important thing to try to work on. And the HRA is a big part of reducing blight. But I just wondered over the last 7 years, have you had any education? Have you contacted any landlords? Have you promoted this program at all as far as trying to get some of these blighted houses in shape to be part of this program? And which is beneficial to not only the city of Pipestone, it's beneficial to the citizen that's going to be living in that community, in that house. It's beneficial to the landlord, it's beneficial to the HRA.
Every January, I send a letter to every landlord that either is currently in the program or has been in the program to do a continued education on how Section 8 program works.
Okay,
For 8 years,
okay.
not one single landlord has ever showed up.
Never had anyone come in?
Never,
Okay,
not once.
all right.
But I still continue to send a letter every January.
Okay.
I still get no response.
Well, that's good to hear, but at least it's too bad that there wasn't more interest in it, or maybe a better way to try to stimulate some interest.
Well, I think you'll find a lot of landlords don't want to mess with the paperwork. They think it's a hassle to have to do the paperwork. If someone's income changes, their rent can change every single month, and then the landlord has to sign a new agreement. That's my feedback from a lot of landlords, is we don't want to deal with your inspections, nor do we want to deal with your paperwork.
Okay, all right.
So I hear what you're saying, is that you're not up to speed, but I will say we've been working on this.
Well, no, this
diligently.
is all beneficial, and this answers a lot of my questions. Now, at a later date, is it possible, if we have an influx of people coming to our community, and we feel that we can, or we've had several more people come up and ask for vouchers, is there a way to bring that back to Pipestone? And would there be a benefit to Pipestone to bring it back, or is there no benefit?
Once the program has been transferred, it cannot come back.
So it is a big decision then?
It's a very big decision.
Yeah.
And like I said, we've been working on this for a very long time. It
Well-
isn't something that we took lightly whatsoever. I mean,
What's the financial
Section 8
aspect
goes,
to
Section 8
the
goes
city
in
of
the hole.
Pipestone?
Our Section 8 program is in the hole every single month.
Okay.
When I just said the 53 vouchers and the 22 we have occupied, I don't even get enough money from HUD to pay the rent.
So
of
the
those
financial aspect to HUD here, or I mean to HRA here, would be to eliminate that red line debt then?
vouchers. Correct.
Okay. All right, okay. Thank you, that answers my question.
Any further discussion? Okay. Now we can take a vote on Ryan's resolution to accept this letter. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
So during our updates at our previous meeting when we didn't have a quorum, for those of you that weren't here, I just did an update. One of the things was that we had our bid opening for our windows for our scattered site units, not in this building, but our 20 family units throughout the community. And that was awarded to Pipestone Building Material. The second place bid was from Tyler, and the third place was from Tinklember Lumber in Edgerton. At that meeting, Dan asked how we go about opening it, and he said that I better check into that. So when I left that meeting that day, I did email to my rep and to the action person in charge at HUD. She was the first one to respond and said, because I said, do all my board members need to be present for a bid opening? She said, whatever your procurement policy reads. And our procurement policy reads, it's chapter 5, verse 3, and it's bid opening and award. Bid should be opened publicly, which it was, because it was advertised 4 times in the newspaper over a 2-week period. All bids received shall be recorded and have a tabulation of bids as they were opened. Kelsey put them on the tabulation bid sheet, which then shall be made available to the public for inspection. No one else came to the meeting to inspect it. If equal or lower bids are received for responsible bidders, selection should be made by drawing lots and other similar methods. Well, we didn't have anybody that was even remotely close. So yes, that is, we have to follow our procurement, and that's what our procurement reads, and she said that what we were doing was fine.
I think my specific question was, how was the bid awarded without it being approved through this commission? Because you said you awarded the bid.
Yep, because at previous meetings when this was brought forward, I was given that duty, I guess you could say, from the board, that when the bids were open that day, that's why we also had a board member present. So that's how we opened. I mean, I was told ahead of time that yes, we could go ahead and.
You don't have to have a motion for
We had the
record
motion.
and everything else.
Yep, we have that in the minutes prior that they gave me that approval to do that.
No, I meant this bid. What was the dollar amount?
$162,495.37.
Okay. And then what was the other bids? Tyler's?
Tyler was $165,155.33. And Tinklenburg was $221,238.60.
Okay. Thank you.
We're still working on our POP grant. We've been working on this for quite some time as well. It's money that only the state of Minnesota does, no other states do this, where they set aside money to help with public housing and to make sure that everybody can try to do projects that they couldn't afford on their own. And we have applied for that, looking to replumb the building. A lot of our plumbing here, some of it is still original to 1968. We have some pipes that I think you could maybe put your finger in and hopefully that nothing comes out when you pull your finger out. But so we've been working on this for a very long time. That will be submitted tomorrow. Right now, it's projected, and I think it's probably been rounded up a little bit higher than need be for just in case, but we're asking for $4 million to do this project. It'll probably take about a 3-year period, and that will be submitted tomorrow. We're working with Southwest Minnesota Housing out of Slayton is helping with the application, and they will not award those grants probably until August. And then in August, if we find out that we've received it, then we'll start making the next steps necessary to move forward with that program.
What was the total amount again that they were gonna award this year?
$40 million has been set aside for this actual program. They did a pre-application of an ask, and there was over $100,000 was asked for. And that's $40 million.
$100 million?
Mhm. I'm sorry, is that?
You said 100,000.
I'm sorry, $100 million was asked for.
Sure.
They only have $40 million to give, and we're asking for $4.
Is this statewide, or is
Yep.
this
Yep,
nation?
but it's no, just state, just
This
the
is
state of
just the state,
Minnesota. Yep,
okay.
yep.
And SRDC was assisting with the write of the grant,
The who?
the SRDC,
Yes,
Southwest
no,
Regional Development Commission?
no, Southwest Minnesota Housing
Yeah.
Partnership
Oh,
out of
okay,
Slate.
okay, all right. Have you been successful with grants like this in the past?
This is gonna be my first grant of this kind of.
Okay. Well, one of the things that I could suggest is the SRDC, they do assist with, that's the Southwest Regional Development Commission in Slayton, and they do assist with grant writing. The city also has staff members on hand that have been successful with grant writing that would certainly be helpful in, assisting with this. And I think something of this magnitude, the more help you get, the better off you are. And that's been my experience when it comes to grants. And we certainly need this grant. We certainly need to update that plumbing. And I know you've been working on it. I know this was talked about last fall, but
Stopped way before that even.
was it? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's the first time I heard of
Right.
it, last fall. But anyway, yeah. When do they award the funds?
In August.
August. So yeah, it's something that instead of just working in a little silo all by yourself, there are resources here available through the city to help with these types of scenarios. And I think that increases our chances. And so just making that offer out there.
Good to know. And then on that section 8, the transfer, like I said, we've been working with Mankato on this. Everything will be submitted tomorrow to hopefully have the transfer for July 1, and that's when Mankato will take over. Between now and then, there'll just be a lot of things that have to be done basically behind the screens with HUD as far as like Section 8 money gets put into our account direct. We don't request it. They put it in. So all that has to be transferred over to Mankato. So just wanted to let you know that even though tomorrow is the deadline, there's a lot of things that will take place between now and July that I'll update you on each month when it's happening. But a lot of things from now until July will happen. Minneapolis at field office will deal with. Revenue and recapture, for those of you that are new, that is when someone moves in here, they sign a form stating that if they vacate and they owe us money, we can intercept their tax return or a lottery winning over $1,000. We can get that prior to you until the bill is paid off with us. In the month of January, we collected $1,786.58. In February, we collected $10,257.86. And the month of March, $3,243.58. And as always, February is our biggest month due to the fact that that's when most taxes are filed. We will get a few more hits again in August. Renters rebates go out in August, so sometimes we do pick up a little money there as well. So for those of you that are new, when we are stuck with the bill at the end, we do submit this to the state, and we can intercept their tax return for up to 6 years or till we're paid in full, whichever happens first.
Good.
Still working, excuse me, with our attorney on the bylaws and things that need to be changed to make it to the Minnesota statute. I'm hoping that will be at our next board meeting for approval.
Who is your attorney?
Oh my gosh, Eric Larson out of Minneapolis. Ooh, just drew a blank there.
Is that someone that HUD has available?
No,
Or is this
At-
something that
our HUD field office.
HRA has actually hired this individual?
Correct. Yep. And we have a person at HUD, his name is Gordon, and he is an attorney, and he will help to, I don't know if guide is the right word, but you'll learn as you're on here for a while, HUD never tells you what to do. They'll make a suggestion, but they won't really go through with anything.
Sure.
So after speaking with Gordon, it was his recommendation that that was something he couldn't answer to, that we should probably have our own attorney.
So did the board approve hiring this attorney?
Yep.
And this is something, this is an attorney that's hired to basically contradict what the city attorney has already given us.
I don't know if I'd
Because you
say
didn't like
contradict,
you didn't like
but-
the city attorney's recommendations.
I just didn't agree with the
So
definition.
you don't agree with the city attorney, so you've hired an attorney to fight that, basically, is that what you're saying?
No, I asked him to help us. You said that we needed to change our bylaws because our bylaws
That's
say
quite
that I make
obvious.
the
That's
recommendation.
quite obvious, they need to be changed,
Yep.
because they
so-
are not, they're over and above state statute.
Right, so
When
that's.
when were those bylaws changed to the
2000
current?
2024, June or July. I'd have to go back and look. It was on my cover sheet.
What was the reason for changing them?
The only changes we made was when COVID had come into play. What we changed in there was about Zoom meetings.
So the first part,
We had
Right.
never changed because that's
been that way since,
the original bylaws that I have.
well, obviously it's probably been, what, 15 years and 20
No,
years?
the bylaws that are in the folder downstairs in the basement from day one of this place, that was how it was made, that the executive director would make a recommendation to the mayor, and the mayor would have the,
Yeah, but that's not what your bylaws say right now.
I know, I understand that, Dan. That's what ours has always said, that I make a recommendation to you, and you take it to the council to be approved. That's what ours say. You and your attorney said that.
No, the current
it's-
bylaws that we have now don't say that.
Did I make the recommendation?
The current bylaws you have in there that the director appoints to the mayor, and the mayor takes it to the council.
I didn't know the word was appoint. I thought it was my recommendation to you, and you take to the council for approval.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I think it's a shame that money is being wasted here, trying to contradict what the city attorney has already given us. And the city of Pipestone pays that city attorney also. And so this is a function of the city of Pipestone.
Which you have brought to our attention and we're aware of.
And well, then why aren't you accepting what the city attorney is advising? Why are you wasting money and hiring an attorney with?
That's
to come
all
up with another
hearsay, Dan.
proposal?
That already happened in the past. Now we've moved forward because we're doing it the way that you and your attorney want us to do.
then why do we have Eric Larson hired?
We hired an attorney when this all started because we did not believe what was going on with the definition. I still to this day, and I will say that, to me, the definition says the surrounding areas of the organization, and I feel that the organization takes care of the county. I would think board members.
Okay,
would
that's
take care of the county.
another poll here.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's why we got an attorney to review that as well. You got an attorney, we got an attorney, we had it reviewed. Now that's all said and done, because we're doing it the way you asked us to do, and since we have the attorney, we had him look and review our bylaws to make sure that we're doing it per Minnesota statute.
To me, that's a waste of money, because you've already been told what Minnesota statute is.
This is what I've been worried about, Dan, is that you're coming in, are you coming in as a board member or a mayor?
Both.
That seems to me like a big conflict.
Well, let me show you.
No, I've seen so much documentation on this stuff already, and, you know, you do have, Tammy, what was it, there was a lip, it says he can do all the stuff he's doing, but there was,
It's in the best recommendation that they don't. That was Minnesota. Federal regulation says that an appointed official should not sit on the board. Minnesota has basically a loophole of that, but it does say in that loophole that it's in the best, basically to protect yourself so that it's not a conflict of interest. And you chose to still say that you wanted to be part of it. And so we're moving forward with that.
That's incorrect information. So.
Which part? Which part?
Just what you said.
What
So
part is
where
it?
we're at here with the resolution that starts the HRA. It started the HRA in 1966. And that's what formed this body. That was by the city of Pipestone. The following resolution for that year indicated who would be on the HRA. And they named 6 individuals by name. However, they said the 7th individual would be the mayor of the city of Pipestone. Not by name, it's just that position. So from the very beginning, the mayor has been part of this commission.
Dan, do me a favor, just calm down, okay?
So,
But if you have always been a
That-
member, why did you not come to any of the
Yeah,
meetings?
you've been.
I was not invited, but
Dan,
And
Dan,
so
time
how
out,
did it
open to
Dan,
everyone?
Dan,
So-
Dan,
so-
Dan, Dan,
so
stop
that's
just a
the
second.
point that I'm
Dan,
making.
Dan, I'm gonna
Ryan?
correct you. I'm gonna correct you for a minute. That is incorrect information. You were invited for the last year, and that's all I'm gonna say.
pardon me?
You have been invited. You were invited as a liaison to come to any board meeting that you wanted to come to.
Right.
So
Right.
why didn't you show up to any of them? And that would be my question to you. I don't want to sit here and nitpick, okay? What we're trying to do is move forward.
Do we want to go back to the beginning of this conversation? I don't think so. Because I think it's all water under the bridge at this point.
if it's water
But
under the bridge,
I've had
why are we
conversations
going
with
through this
Tammy
again?
for the last 2 years on this. And the conversation today is about the bylaws. And bylaws are important for any organization. And you know that too. You can't even have a bank account without proper bylaws for an organization like this. So those bylaws are very serious. And they need to follow state statute. And that's my point. And so when we have a city attorney on staff that says, this is the way your bylaws need to be written.
That makes an interpretation of the law, of the way the
Correct.
bylaws need to be interpreted.
Yes, yes.
It's his
And then
interpretation.
to have an
It's his-
entity of the city of Pipestone hire an outside attorney because they didn't like that interpretation, to me,
No, they
that
didn't
is
like
a
it.
waste of
Question.
money.
You keep saying didn't like, and you keep making opinionated statements. They disagreed with it.
They disagreed it, okay,
Okay?
that's another
That's
way
a
of
way
saying
different-
it.
That's a way different way of saying it. Didn't like it makes us sound petty, and I don't appreciate that. So, some people here disagreed with the city's attorneys, because it says right after everything you sent us that was highlighted, that was on there, that came out, it said, you stopped, and you didn't read the rest of it. It says city, county, or area or area.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my point, Dan. Can I ask a question? What are your concerns? You've made your point that you don't think that it's wise of us to seek legal counsel, correct?
Correct. It's a
Okay.
waste of money.
Duly noted.
That's my
Can we
opinion.
move, oh, perfect. Duly noted. Can we move forward from this?
I would hope that we could move forward from all this.
Me too. I think all of us.
Yeah.
But it's gonna take more than just us.
So at what point will there be a review of these bylaws? And at what point will they come before the board then?
My guess is
based
when-
on the recommendation of what attorney?
My common sense tells me when they're completed. I'm guessing they're not completed right now.
Right,
correct?
I just said that I hope to have them at our next board meeting, is what I just had said prior to that.
So that would be,
I feel like,
Next month.
yeah, I mean, that would be, then when they're completed, they'll become for the board and we'll have a chance to review and probably hash all this out again at some point.
Well, yeah, in fact, a lot of boards wouldn't even accept a review of the bylaws the first time they see them.
Sure.
They should be given a chance to review those bylaws and
Say we're accepting, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's worry about that when they're done. And
Yeah.
bring them for the
Yeah.
board. We're all part of the board. We'll review and we'll vote on it and discuss it at
Yeah.
that point in time.
all right.
I'm
Well, I'm glad, I hope I answered your question, and we'll have to wait and see.
I agree. We will.
So Linda was our chair and Mitch was the vice chair, so now he has become the chair. Ryan has graciously accepted the vice chair. We had a personnel committee, excuse me, that was Myron and Dustin. And since they no longer are on the board, Julie, who is our tenant representative here for the building and scattered site houses, said that she would be willing to do it because it's kind of what she's already doing. So that's now chair and vice chairs right there. And as far as occupancy goes, and I think that is not in this packet, we are 100% occupied here in the building with the wait list.
Is
Okay,
this-
before we go on,
Yeah.
go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, just a quick question on procedure, on appointments of officers for this board. Who did that?
I spoke with the board members.
So the board has nothing to say about who is an officer of the board. Shouldn't that be brought before the entire board and voted on?
Well, then that's.
We
what
just
can
never
do.
had a problem with this kind of stuff before,
Yeah,
Dan.
isn't that something? Because
Yeah.
And you know, when you're operating in a little silo and you're doing things the way you want to do for so many years, I can see where there's going to be a little bit of pushback when someone comes up and says, "Oh, just a minute, I have a question. Wait a minute. Is this the proper
We've had
procedure?"
tons of questions here about things,
Yeah.
Dan, but you're
Yeah.
coming in such a volatile stance today. I don't
You think so?
understand it. Yes, I do.
I tend to agree.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Pointing fingers and getting animated, it was pretty volatile.
Oh.
So here's the thing. What I told you, Tammy, is that if I was nominated, I would accept the position. What I would entertain is there.
I don't know.
Right now, if we want to go back and do it, is that what you're saying?
That's what I just said. When you started saying that, I said, so be it.
I think, do we operate under Robert's Rules of Order, or how do we operate?
You know what, Dan? It hasn't been that. It hasn't been a strict Robert's rule
We
since
don't
I've
do
been
that.
here.
Okay, all right.
We've been trying to do.
That was a question.
We're a lay community.
You want to step in again, Ryan?
No, excuse me. Can I finish talking, please? We've had a
Is
loose.
that animated?
Tammy, I told you I wouldn't do this. I'm done. Thank you. I resigned from the board effectively immediately. This is garbage.
That's the type of stuff that happens when things get developed the way they did over the last 6 months. That's
I
the
just
type
feel,
of-
Dan, that we
You
think.
have no one to blame but yourself, Tammy.
You quit pointing fingers, please.
you're being very volatile. I mean, seriously, you came with an agenda and I believe you succeeded with your intention. However, I don't see what the intention helps. I mean, we're here because we want things to work. We're here because we want to work together. And I'm purely just sitting here going, do you have any intention of wanting to work with people? Or is it just you want things in a certain manner and you want the ducks in a row, your way, and that be it? Because that's where I'm sitting, that's what it is sounding like.
Oh, I'm sorry you feel that way because that isn't the case.
Well, what is it you do want? What is the,
I'm hesitant to even continue the conversation because
you have not been hesitant to
I don't
continue
want
a
other people to
conversation
walk out.
yet. You already got the one to walk out, so.
Yeah.
I'm kind of astounded at how things resulted here by asking some questions.
But you weren't purely asking. You are being extremely aggressive.
Okay.
And there's no need for that. We're all here for the same basis.
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
I don't want to sound accusing to you. However, it does appear as if you came with the intent.
I'll speak to, you've done a lot of that. I think you're wrong in this, that, and the other thing for this meeting. So I'm just going to tell you how I said it. When I first interjected and said, Dan, just please calm down, it was me trying to get you to stop being the way that I felt you were being. That it sounds like the way that most people here felt you were being, including Mitch. So several of us felt that way, okay? Either we're all wrong or you are. And that's where I'll leave that, okay? I don't think this was a very professional meeting. And I think there was several things about this meeting that was unprofessional, and some of those things were how you approached some of the questions that you had. Now, I don't really want to move forward either. I'm not sure other than to move to adjourn. I don't even know, I guess, how we move forward now that we don't have a chair. To be perfectly honest, I'm not sure where I stand with this whole deal. Disappointed in how disappointed in behaviors of several people in this meeting today.
Yeah.
Not really several.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed how the meeting went. It could have been much different, Dan. And I hope at some point you can see that. So.
Well, I hope everyone here could see how things could have been.
Right. Point fingers at everybody else. I know. I get it. So it's not everybody. I'm not going to do this with you. I'm not going to point blame. I didn't point all the fingers at you. I tried to leave it open. But if you want to sit here and point fingers at Tammy and at Mitch and at everybody else that it was our fault that this happened without, sorry.
Don't put words in my mouth, right? I didn't say that.
But you did. You did tell her that she had no one to
You
blame
did.
but herself.
You said to Tammy, you have nobody to blame but yourself.
Exactly.
That's pointing
Okay.
fingers and blame.
Yeah.
So how was that putting words in your mouth?
Those are your
They
words.
were your words. I repeated them. And that's what I did. And I'm not here to fight with you. Okay? You clearly said to me at one point in time that you wanted to partner with the HRA to make it better, to partner with the city.
Mhm.
Okay? Somehow we're going to have to do that.
Yeah.
But it takes two people to tango, buddy. And that's all I'm going to say to that. And what I'm saying is I don't feel this was professional.
To follow a legal procedure and to have an organized.
What about
commission.
what about the legal procedure of this meeting that you have issues with?
The appointments of the officers.
Which I said. So
I
Tammy
think-
said
I
a
think
point.
that
Tammy
should-
said
and the
a
personnel
point.
committee.
Tammy said a point.
I thought you asked me a question. Can I answer it?
Sure.
The appointment of the officers
Mhm.
and also the personnel committee appointment was done by the HRA director, period. That should be done by the entire commission.
And then when you said that, I said, so be it, saying, okay, we'll have a vote right now.
Yeah. And that's when I felt, right?
And what I said to Mitch is I said we need to have appointments made and need to be voted on. That's exactly what I said to Mitch.
Pardon me?
What she was talking, what I said to Mitch while she was talking was I said I would accept it if appointed.
Exactly.
We need to appoint and vote for
Exactly.
it.
Yeah. And then things blew up after that. And they didn't need to.
Correct. Yeah. So, had Tammy been allowed to finish talking, that would have been the rest of the conversation. We'll just leave it at that. I'm not gonna sit here and debate. I'm not gonna sit here and do this. Also was my fear of moving forward this way, which I shared with you, right? Here we are. So I guess we gotta work through it. I move to adjourn.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
What are you staring at? What are you staring at me?
The letter for Section 8.
Yeah.
Yes.